Group's gotten better.
Yeah, I think each day they continue to work the techniques, the things we've been teaching them. Obviously, we're spring ball, and obviously for the summer, and then now through fall camp, they've had a good, stretch of, I don't know, 6-7 months here to kind of put it all together. So they're still learning, but they're making a lot of progress. They're starting to use some of the techniques, which is good to see out of practice, and they'll continue to learn as the season goes on for sure.
You mentioned the opportunities that some of those guys have, whether it's Monster or Richardson, and trying to kind of grasp those. How have they tried to grasp onto those opportunities that they have?
They're doing a good job, and they're all competing. They're competing very well, which is good. Especially those two you mentioned, AJ and Monster. They're doing a great job competing, and they kind of, one guy will have a good practice, the other guy will have another good practice the next day, and they keep kind of looking over each other and kind of keep that competition level up so they play at a high level. So they're doing good, and I think the whole group is really kind of buying into that competition, makes us all better. Then you had in the new freshmen that came in, they kind of made a splash and had made some plays, and it kind of makes everybody kind of work a little harder. And so it's good. It's a good, healthy combination of competition and guys kind of buying into what we're doing.
Other than Wilson, a lot of guys don't have a lot of experience. How much as the season goes along will gaining confidence play a factor?
Oh, big time, absolutely. I mean, because like you said, if you take Set away, a lot of those guys don't have a lot of production. So we lost a lot of production last year, so we need some of these kids to kind of step up and kind of mature into that role. And there's some older guys, they just don't have that experience. So we have to kind of get them that experience and throw them some balls early and gain some confidence. And then that from game 1 to game 3 to game 5, it has to kind of build as the season goes on. So we can build a good receiving core, a good unit of guys, and not just one guy.
So how do you go about building confidence in a receiver? Obviously, they have to catch the ball, but are there things you can do to help them out?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of psychological work that has to be done on top of all the technique and the physical part. In fact, Harsh and I was just talking about that today. It's very important to kind of keep their spirits up, and when they do something well, to make sure they let them know. If you make a big play at a critical moment, let them know. Because a lot of times coaching, it's always all the people see is the negative. When coaches are getting upset or yelling, well, you got to see both sides of it. You got to tell them when they do a good job and a bad job, so it's out. So when they do a good job, they continue to do that. They feel that confidence to grow further into the next play, the next game.
Zach said Sean creates fun mismatches for you guys. What does Sean bring to the table? People maybe got a glimpse of it against BYU last year, but what does he bring to the table that you guys like?
Sean
Monster,
yeah. He's just he's very smooth. He's very elusive. He's just he has kind of deceptive speed where he can kind of drop zips and separate really quick. And I think that's what he does. He has a really good job of separating away from the defenders, and he's really smart. He can kind of settle those holes where we need to, or if he has to run man and kind of stick and leverage and get off. He has the ability to do that. So I think a lot of his things is the techniques he's using, and he's a very smooth kind of slide runner.
Looking like you guys might use Evans and Thomas this year, those true freshmen. You mentioned you kind of got to use those guys. If you're going to play them, you got to put them in there somehow and put them in quite a bit. Should they play? Is that the intent to try to get them in the mix right away?
Well, you have to be smart with them. You can't because they are so new and they are true freshmen and they do have talent. There's no doubt they have talent. But now we have to make sure they're comfortable in the system where they can go make plays. You can't just throw them out there because if they make mistakes, they're hurting the team.
Right.
So we have to make sure they obviously know the game plan, they study, know what's going on, and then like I said, when they start to catch one ball, then two ball, you'll see them kind of grow and flourish as well. Probably in a different way than you will some of the older guys. But I'm excited about both those kids. And again, they're still, even though they're practicing with the older guys, it's still kind of up in the air what we're going to do with them. We just want to give them the opportunity.
If they are able to get in there, does that say something more about them, that just their abilities, or that the fact that you mentioned that there's some veteran guys? I don't know if they are ahead of those guys or not, but is it just, what does it say more about? Probably their talent level, or
just their talent level and their competitive drive, and that they really, when they came here, they wanted to step on the field and they were very determined. And again, they're going to make mistakes because they're young, but we have to make sure that we iron those mistakes out so they they're good on Saturday on game day, because that's really the most important thing. You can't just put a kid out there because he has talent or potential. You have to make sure they can actually follow through with results, and that's what's really important. Because the older guys, we know they can do that. We have to see what the young kids can do, even in a competitive environment like we are now, getting ready for a game.
Receiver is a position where who starts is not necessarily that important. A lot of guys rotating. Is there an ideal number that you want to use out there?
It's funny you say that because we talk in those terms. We say it's a fluid group. It's not a depth chart of 1, 2, and 3. You guys are all X's. You three guys are fluid. You guys all play together. If guys are a good practice or a good game, he'll play more. If you drop a couple balls, I'm going to put the next guy in. Because I think you have to leave that level of competition, that belief that I can still get in, I can still play. It keeps you hungry, it keeps you wanting to drive, to work harder. So, yes, the number we have here is probably 8 or 9, which is kind of a big number. But those guys are traveling. A lot of the guys will have special teams roles, but then they're also in the mix at receiver as well.
How much of it has it been maybe stress to try to get those guys more involved and get spread it out a little bit more. And I think that's always a hope of an offense, and maybe necessarily that wasn't the case last year here. But how much you guys tried to foster that here in fall camp?
Oh, no doubt, because everybody knows if you have one receiver and they press him or they double him, you got to get it to the other guys. So that's the point of trying to develop a group, develop a unit, even our tight ends, get our tight ends involved, and the other receivers, because so they can't just focus on Sed. Yeah, Sed's he's a great player and he's got a lot of good catches, but he said we have to distribute the ball to other receivers, get the tight ends involved, even check downs to the back, make us more diverse. The defense has to really defend the whole offense and not just one person.
One of the first guys that people keep mentioning is who stood out in fall camp is Sed. I know it's not a sexy answer, but he always is, just a guy that comes up a lot. What's impressed you most about now that you've been able to work with him now a couple months?
Yeah, he's a true student of the game. I mean, he really loves to learn. He loves to learn new techniques. He loves to take the technique and then apply it. And he just studies the game. It's really he's very serious about it. He's up there watching the film. He's asking great questions. He's very coachable. He loves to learn. That's probably the best thing. He loves to learn. He'll sit there with a serious look and say, "Hey, coach, when I get this leverage, how can I use this release?" And he wants to use it and apply it. So, and that's what's great about him. And as an athlete, he's always looking to get better. He's never happy or content. He always wants to be the best.
You've got a new group this year. You came in the spring. I think every coach always sees something different than somebody else saw. Is there anything you've seen in this group that maybe you've been able to help them with or tweaked a little bit that has been good for them?
The one thing that I've noticed within the group is they are extremely hard workers. These kids really work. It's important to them, and they want to get better. And I think what I added to that is I took their work ethic, and I'm trying to give them some technique, just trying to refine their skills as a wide receiver. And not necessarily just run a route because my coach says to run a route. Why are you running the route? What's the purpose of running this route? What's the quarterback's read? Are you trying to grab this defender so we can get up over the top? It's just that big picture thinking. I think that's what I've added to this group. It's a bigger knowledge, a bigger picture knowledge of the offense.
We mentioned the lack of experience with certain guys. Is that a bigger deal than? Is that not as big of a deal as people are making it, or is that something that you're excited to put out there on September 2nd? Or
I don't make it a big deal. I really don't. I think it can flip the other way. You have a lot of guys, a lot of production, a lot of experience. You might step on autopilot and become relaxed because, they've done it before, so they're good. But when you're always on edge and you're always trying to get these guys to really refine their skills, it kind of keeps you pushing forward. So I don't really worry about it. I'm actually excited about it. I can't wait till next Saturday to see the product on the field and kind of see these guys grow from game 1 to game 5 to game 7 throughout the season, because it's a process. It's not going to happen in one game versus Troy. It's going to take some time, like I said, to build the confidence and get these guys going, which to me, I'm excited about it, and it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun.